My brother mocked my act of kindness. Now, he is in prison, his fortune is gone, and karma served every receipt he thought he could dodge. I never imagined that my brother's true nature would be revealed through a casual act of compassion, but here we are. I am still in the process of analyzing the events that transpired last Friday. For context, I have consistently been the black sheep of the family due to my decision to establish my own path rather than participating in the family enterprise. Noah, my brother, succeeded our father, and he ensures that no one forgets it. However, I have accomplished quite a bit for myself. I am typically responsible for the cost of our family outings. Friday was intended to be a day of festivity. Noah had been boasting about a significant transaction that he had successfully completed, so I proposed that we all dine at this upscale restaurant in the heart of downtown. Noah, his wife Isabella, and their daughter Hazel were present, as was my mother, Cora. Hazel, who is 8 years old, is likely the sole authentic individual in our family, with the exception of myself. The evening began in a typical manner. Noah's usual self-importance dominated the conversation, and Isabella nodded in agreement as if he were divulging the secrets of the universe. Over the years, I have developed the ability to disregard it, instead concentrating on Hazel's narratives regarding her academic pursuits and her most recent artistic endeavor. Things began to change when our food arrived. I observed an elderly man seated on a bench outside the restaurant through the window. He was attempting to maintain his warmth in the evening chill, and he was carrying a small cart that appeared to contain all of his possessions. I have been privileged enough to be in a position where I can assist others, so I discreetly requested that our server include an additional meal in our order, their soup of the day and a sandwich, and have it packed for us to take with us. The exchange went unnoticed by anyone until Noah chuckled. "Are you once again assuming the role of the savior, little brother?" I chose to disregard him and proceeded with my discussion with Hazel regarding her science assignment. However, Noah was unable to relinquish it. "You know," he stated, loud enough for tables in the vicinity to hear, "it's funny how you're always trying to prove you're better than everyone else with these charitable acts. Is it because you're trying to forget when we were kids and Dad had to bail out your failed ventures?" I maintained my attention on Hazel, but she had become silent, observing the adults with that perceptive expression that children exhibit when they perceive that something is amiss. Isabella was already chuckling in anticipation of Noah's subsequent statement. The server returned with the packaged meal, and I excused myself to exit the establishment. I could hear Noah's voice echoing through the restaurant's open window as I approached the elderly man to offer him the food. "Even homeless people have more worth than you," he responded. "At least they're honest about who they are. You're just pretending you're not the same failure you've always been." The elderly man had just expressed his gratitude to me when the table erupted in hilarity. A chorus that felt as though it was drilling into my cranium was formed by my mother's nervous titter, Isabella's shrill cackle, and Noah's booming laugh. Hazel was the sole individual who maintained her silence, her eyes wide with concern and her face plastered against the window. I returned to the interior, sat down, and consumed my supper in silence. Noah continued his performance by interjecting with jokes about my charity cases and my attempt to buy a personality. Each comment elicited the anticipated laughter. I observed Hazel pushing her food around her dish, her previous enthusiasm having been completely deflated. I withdrew my card without speaking when the check arrived. When I stood up, Noah was in the midst of another narrative regarding his business acumen. Isabella expressed her gratitude for the dinner without even raising her head from her phone. I observed each of them. My mother, who was avoiding eye contact, Noah and Isabella, who were absorbed in their own world, and Hazel, who abruptly rose to offer me an embrace. I embraced her for a brief period before placing my card on the table. "The bill's paid. I need to go." That was the extent of my remarks prior to my departure. Noah was likely to erupt into another commentary regarding my dramatic exits, as I observed him rolling his eyes through the window. They are unaware that I utilized the weekend to conduct inquiries and make phone calls regarding matters that I have neglected for an excessive amount of time. Perhaps it is time to examine the extent to which my brother has been fulfilling the responsibilities of which he is so proud. I have provided more assistance to the family business than they are aware. The elderly individual was still present when I departed. He had meticulously preserved half of his sandwich by enveloping it in the paper napkin for later. He expressed his gratitude once more with a level of dignity that Noah would have been unable to comprehend. I presented him with my business card and advised him to visit my office if he required any assistance. Noah believes that one's worth is determined by the extent to which they can extract from others. He is on the brink of discovering his error. Initially, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you for your encouraging feedback on my most recent post. Numerous events have transpired, necessitating that I disclose my findings. The situation is more severe than I had anticipated. The past 2 weeks have been intriguing. My phone has been inundated with messages from family members, each of which is more urgent than the previous one. I have not replied to any of them, with the exception of Hazel's text regarding her art endeavors. Her suffering should not be a consequence of the adult drama. The truly intriguing aspect of the situation commenced on the previous Tuesday when I received an email from Eliza, an acquaintance of my father who is responsible for certain administrative tasks related to the family business. The subject line was straightforward. It is imperative that we engage in conversation. I was left feeling frigid after the 2-hour video call that ensued. It transpired that my brother Noah's significant transactions were not quite as substantial as he had previously asserted. Eliza had initially observed minor discrepancies in the accounts, which gradually became more apparent. She attempted to discuss the matter with my mother. However, Cora dismissed it with her customary, "no one knows what he's doing" attitude. I discreetly perused the records that Eliza forwarded to me over the course of the subsequent few days. Noah had been systematically siphoning money from the company for years, and the pattern was evident. Additionally, it is not limited to negligible quantities. We are discussing millions of dollars in consulting fees to shell companies that appear to be connected to personal accounts. The irony? Some of those accounts were funded by my personal investments in the family business. Investments made because Noah turned to me whenever he required a capital injection to finance his purported expansion strategies. I had consistently rendered assistance under the impression that I was contributing to our father's legacy. Isabella contacted me yesterday. I am not expressing regret, but I am inquiring as to whether I will be present at the board meeting next week. Her voice was characterized by the artificial tenderness she employs when she desires something. I allowed it to be transferred to voicemail. Her message was quite candid. "Noah says it's just a formality, but he really needs you there to sign some papers. Family has to stick together, right?" "Exactly. Family." She is unaware that I have already communicated with the board members. It has been revealed that Noah has been providing the board with various versions of the company's status for months, each of which has been meticulously constructed to conceal his mismanagement. Nevertheless, numerical data is indisputable. These figures also reflect a pattern of systematic fraud and larceny. The most alarming discovery was made when reviewing the timestamps of specific transactions. Do you recall the elderly individual who was standing outside the restaurant? Noah had transferred a substantial sum to an offshore account on the same day that I purchased him dinner. This sum was precisely the amount required to cover the payroll of our father's longest-serving employees. He has been mocking others for demonstrating fundamental human decency while simultaneously playing with people's livelihoods. Cora transmitted a text message this morning. "Please, Benjamin, whatever you're doing, think about your brother's family. Think about Hazel. I am contemplating Hazel. I am contemplating the manner in which her father has been robbing her future while simultaneously teaching her that cruelty is permissible as long as it is done with a sense of humor. Tomorrow is the date of the board meeting. Noah is unaware that I have already submitted a comprehensive audit report. He is unaware that Eliza has been meticulously chronicling every detail for several months. He is unaware that his idyllic existence, which is characterized by privilege and ridicule, is on the brink of dissolution. Noah sent me a text message, which caused my phone to vibrate once more. "Hey, little brother, we need you at the office tomorrow. Time to step up and be part of the family business finally. What do you say?" What should I say? Nothing, not yet. However, I have organized 3 folders of documents. One for the board, one for the authorities. Additionally, one is designated for our mother, who will be compelled to confront the transformation of her golden child. In the remarks of my most recent post, a few of you inquired as to why I did not confront Noah at the restaurant. In reality, I have been resisting him throughout my life, albeit not in the manner that he perceived. He will comprehend the precise nature of the individual he has been disparaging for the past decade tomorrow. The elderly fellow from the restaurant visited my office last week. It transpired that he was employed by my father years ago. The final few pieces of the puzzle were filled in by the anecdotes he shared about Noah's early days in the company. I have scheduled a vehicle to transport Hazel to her preferred art class tomorrow following her dismissal from school. She should not be compelled to observe the impending events. At times, safeguarding family members necessitates safeguarding them from other family members. The meeting is scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow. I will provide you with an update on the progress, but one thing is certain. Noah is about to discover that karma does not always act in a positive manner. The board meeting has concluded. I am currently seated in my vehicle, attempting to comprehend the events of the past 4 hours. A few of you requested an immediate update, so I am providing it. At 8:30 a.m., I arrived ahead of schedule. There was only Eliza in the conference room, and she was in the process of assembling the projector. She gave me a slight nod. Everything was prepared. I positioned my 3 folders on the table and waited. At 8:55 a.m., Noah entered the room with Isabella following in his footsteps, as she had done in the past. When he recognized me, he actually smiled, that same smug smirk that he had worn at the restaurant. Finally decided to join the family business, little brother? I refrained from responding. I observed as the board members entered, followed by our mother. Cora appeared anxious, her gaze alternating between Noah and me. She was aware that something was amiss. However, she was unaware of the impending events. Noah initiated the meeting with his customary enthusiasm, discussing future expansions and growth projections. I permitted him to continue for precisely 15 minutes, allowing him to dig that pit deeper. I then proceeded to access the initial folder. Before we discuss expansion plans, I stated, passing copies to each board member, we should review these transactions from the past 3 years. Noah's expression remained unchanged. However, his left eye twitched, a symptom that has been present in him since infancy. Isabella likely reached for her phone to initiate damage control. I had already blocked the room signal. One board member perused the pages and inquired, Benjamin, what is the subject of this? I responded, it pertains to accountability. I then turned to Noah. Would you like to explain the consulting fees to Maxwell Holdings, or should I? His visage was devoid of color. Maxwell Holdings, his initial shell company, named after his college companion, poorly executed. Isabella intervened. This is absurd. Noah has grown this company tenfold. You're just jealous because of what? I inquired. Because I chose my own path while your husband was stealing from employee pension funds. That captivated the attention of all individuals. Cora attempted to communicate, but I had already initiated the second folder. 3 years of systematic theft. I continued. Shell companies, fake consultancy fees, inflated contracts. But the pension fund, Noah, that's what made this criminal. You are incapable of comprehending, Noah exclaimed, his voice quivering. The market was volatile. I needed to cover some temporary shortfalls. Temporary. I extracted the bank statements. Is that why you bought the yacht last month? To cover shortfalls? Isabella's unwavering composure was compromised. What yacht? It transpired that Noah had neglected to inform his wife of his minor acquisitions. The vacation residence into the Bahamas offshore accounts. The debts associated with wagering. The subsequent 2 hours were characterized by a flurry of denials, accusations, and revelations. Noah employed every conceivable method, deflection, emotional manipulation, even endeavoring to pin certain transactions on Eliza. However, I had documentation for each and every item, each transfer, each and every fraudulent contract. Everything that is false, he ultimately exclaimed. I fulfilled my obligations. Dad would have understood. He knew business isn't about playing nice. That was the moment when Cora finally discovered her voice. Your father, she said quietly, fired his own brother for taking a single unauthorized commission. He would be ashamed. Noah chuckled. It was the same cruel chuckle from the restaurant. Ashamed, he directed his attention toward me. He'd be ashamed of him, the disappointment, abandoning the family business to play humanitarian. At least I stayed. At least I tried to keep his legacy alive. I opened the third folder, the one containing the police reports, and inquired, by stealing from it. The room fell silent. Noah's complexion underwent an intriguing gray hue. You would not, he murmured. Remember what you said about homeless people having more worth than me? I responded. At least they're honest about who they are. Noah's immediate removal was approved by the board. I had already completed the requisite paperwork as the dominant shareholder, a fact that he never bothered to verify. Isabella withdrew from the voting process midway through, her flawless mask entirely obliterated. Silent weeping streamed down Cora's face as she remained until the conclusion. She caressed my arm after the event concluded. Benjamin, I don't just make sure Hazel is okay. Noah attempted one final attempt as I was departing. You can't do this to me. I'm your brother. I retreated. No, Noah. What you are is a thief who happened to be born to the same parents as me. And now, you're unemployed. I hear the restaurant down the street is hiring. Try not to mock their charitable customers. The evidence is currently being reviewed by the police. Tomorrow, the board will convene to deliberate on restructuring. I have recently received a text message from Isabella's attorney. However, Hazel's art teacher conveyed the most critical message. She had the best time in class today, won first prize for her painting. The subject? A man is seen dividing his sandwich. Occasionally, karma operates in a manner that is enigmatic. Occasionally, it functions precisely as intended. I will provide another update once all matters have been resolved. Right now, I must convene with the trustees of the pension fund. In contrast to certain individuals, I am a proponent of repaying my debts. Summing up, I have not provided an update in over a month, and I have committed to disclosing the outcome. Revenge, as the saying goes, is a dish that is best enjoyed cold. I received mine with an accompanying side of complete destruction. We should commence with Noah. Do you recall how he consistently boasted about his business acumen? The authorities did not find it to be as remarkable as they had anticipated. Last week, they conducted a raid on his residence. It transpired that my evidence was merely the tip of the iceberg. Records of money laundering going back 5 years were discovered. The most delightful aspect? It is likely that he believed himself to be too intelligent to be discovered, as he had taken meticulous notes of everything. 2 days subsequent to the board meeting, Isabella submitted a divorce petition. Not out of moral outrage, mind you, but I ensured that she was informed about Noah's fiancée in the Bahamas, individual for whom he acquired a residence using company funds. This was the same residence that Isabella believed was an investment property. Her attorney reached out to me in order to obtain evidence for the divorce proceedings. Everything was supplied by me without cost. The expression on Noah's face when he realized that his wife's counsel was aware of every detail of his financial crimes was invaluable. However, I was not yet finished. Do you recall the elderly gentleman from the restaurant? He was not a typical former employee. He was the original associate of my father, and he was instrumental in the establishment of the company years ago. Noah had coerced him into early retirement by fabricating performance evaluations. His pension has been reinstated with retroactive pay, and he has been appointed to the board. What was his initial action? Voting to authorize a comprehensive audit of all decisions made by Noah over the past decade. The local news was impacted by the pension fund scandal. Noah's image was prominently featured on the front page as he was led from his residence. Who are his acquaintances in the upper level of society? They disappeared. It is remarkable how rapidly individuals distance themselves when the facade collapses. Cora attempted to mediate the situation by imploring me to withdraw the charges. She begged, "He is still your brother." I presented her with the surveillance footage that captured Noah ridiculing elderly employees as he reduced their retirement benefits. After that, she discontinued her defense of him. Regarding the company, I have assumed responsibility. However, it was not in the manner that Noah had urged me to. I have transformed it into a corporation that is owned by its employees. Equity is now granted to all employees who have served for an extended period. The expression on their faces when they discovered that they would be shareholders rather than mere employees. That is the embodiment of authentic business leadership. Isabella's social circle has collapsed. It has been discovered that individuals are reluctant to associate with individuals who were aware of pension fraud and chose to remain silent. Last week, her membership in the country club was terminated. It appears that they have established standards. Who knew? Noah's final attempt. Noah tried to reach out to me via his attorney, offering to mend things if I dropped the charges. I forwarded the message to the prosecutors as evidence of attempted witness tampering. He is currently facing a sentence of 15 years, not 5. However, the genuine karma arrived yesterday. Noah believed himself to be astute by concealing funds in cryptocurrency accounts. He was unaware that I had been monitoring those accounts since the very beginning. When he tried to retrieve them from his parents' residence, where he had been staying since the divorce, they were empty. Every penny had been transferred to a trust fund for Hazel. Regarding Hazel, she is currently residing with Isabella's sister. I have arranged for her to attend the most prestigious art school in the metropolis. Her college education will be funded by the trust fund. Noah is incapable of handling any of it. His daughter will be afforded opportunities that he is unable to control or seize. The elderly individual who initiated this entire situation, he is flourishing. I have established a foundation in his honor to provide assistance to retired employees. Who was the initial recipient? Noah's former aide, whom he terminated for excessively inquiring about the accounting. Yesterday, I received a letter from Noah's penitentiary. He stated that he has finally comprehended the concept of genuine worth. I had it framed and posted it in the boardroom, adjacent to the new company mission statement. Integrity is not negotiable. Some of you inquired as to whether I harbor any remorse for the devastation I caused to my brother's life. No, I do not. He had the opportunity to prioritize compassion over cruelty and integrity over greed for an extended period. He consistently selected the incorrect option. Last night, I returned to that restaurant, seated at the same table. However, this time I was not accompanied by my family. I was present with the elderly man who is now a member of the board, and we deliberated on the company's new charitable foundation. I observed an individual who appeared to be Noah's erstwhile golf partner bussing tables as we departed. Karma is a process that requires time to unfold. However, receipts are included when it arrives. This will serve as my concluding update. The organization is flourishing. Hazel is thriving in her new school. And Noah? It appears that orange has become his new signature color. Occasionally, the most effective form of retribution is not merely observing an individual's downfall. It is ensuring that they have a comprehensive understanding of all the losses they experienced when they reached the nadir. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.